Hello everyone, welcome back to Firepower Report. Today, we're diving into one of the most shocking developments in modern warfare and geopolitical tension. Reports that drones linked to Poland have struck Russia's $1.2 billion Moscow City towers. The event has sparked global debates, rattled financial markets, and raised questions about whether Europe is on the edge of a new and dangerous chapter in this long and bloody conflict between Russia and Ukraine. What we're witnessing may not just be another drone strike. It could be a symbol of how the balance of power is shifting in modern war, from giant tanks and missiles to small, intelligent, and precise flying machines that can cause chaos in a city once considered untouchable. The Moscow City towers have always been seen as the pride of Russia's modern identity. Sleek, glass-covered skyscrapers rising high above the skyline of the Russian capital, these towers stand as symbols of ambition and financial dominance. They are home to major corporations, banks, and even government departments. When people think of Moscow's modern development, this is the image that comes to mind: a city of glass and light, an architectural statement that Russia has entered a new age of urban power. But all of that glitter and prestige became a target, a reminder that in war, nothing is too beautiful, too expensive, or too symbolic to be struck down. The exterior of these towers, designed with modern architecture and advanced materials, once reflected the skyline like a mirror of progress. Now, that same glass reflected fire, smoke, and destruction. When the drones hit, witnesses described an eerie combination of modern silence and explosive chaos. Small aircraft came in low, fast, and smart, avoiding detection from traditional radar systems that once gave Moscow a sense of security. The damage was not catastrophic to the structure itself, but the psychological impact was enormous. The world watched in disbelief as videos flooded social media. $1 billion towers, burning and scarred by low-cost, unmanned systems. The symbolism could not have been clearer. The very core of Russian pride and wealth was under attack, not by fighter jets or heavy artillery, but by the smallest, most efficient machines of the 21st century battlefield. Inside the towers, the story was different. The interiors represent the heart of Russian corporate and governmental activity: high-end offices, meeting rooms, luxurious apartments, and secretive data centers that store vital information for some of the country's largest enterprises. Employees and residents were evacuated quickly, but the sense of fear and uncertainty was overwhelming. For a city that has lived through sanctions, bomb threats, and decades of Cold War paranoia, this was something new, a realization that war could reach them not from the front lines, but through the skies above their own homes. The interiors, once a symbol of calm productivity and luxury, now became a place of panic, sirens, and emergency lights. Security forces sealed off the area, while drones of another kind, media drones, circled above to capture every moment of the chaos. The performance of the drones that executed this strike shocked many defense experts. According to reports, these drones were possibly long-range modified models capable of traveling hundreds of kilometers with precision. Some sources linked them to Polish engineering assistance or components that enhanced range and GPS accuracy. Their performance was extraordinary: silent, effective, and terrifyingly precise. They bypassed Russia's layered air defense systems, including the sophisticated Pantsir S-1 and even the formidable S-400 systems that were designed to protect Moscow against high-level threats. But no defense system is perfect. The drones used low-altitude flight paths, radar-evading maneuvers, and possibly even satellite-assisted navigation to approach their targets without detection. That level of performance is what defines modern drone warfare: speed, intelligence, and unpredictability. What makes this particular strike stand out is not just the damage it caused, but what it revealed. Russia's capital, often described as one of the most heavily defended cities in the world, was penetrated by small, low-cost aerial vehicles. That revelation alone is worth billions in strategic analysis. If these drones could reach Moscow City towers, what else could they reach? Military analysts believe this attack has exposed vulnerabilities that Russia can no longer ignore. The idea of air superiority has been redefined. It's no longer about who has the most fighter jets or missiles, but who can adapt to the technology that defines modern combat: stealth drones, artificial intelligence, and precision targeting. From a safety perspective, this incident raises serious concerns. The safety of Moscow's citizens was compromised not by a full-scale invasion, but by a handful of drones. Despite having some of the world's most advanced defense systems, the city's airspace was violated. The irony here is chilling. The same defenses that protect against large missiles failed against small, fast, and cheap drones. The Kremlin has long relied on the image of strength and control, projecting Moscow as a fortress city immune to attack. But now that image has been shattered. Safety, it seems, is no longer guaranteed even in the heart of Russia's power. Fire alarms, shattered windows, and emergency sirens became the soundtrack of a new kind of war. And what's worse, these attacks are becoming more frequent. Every successful strike emboldens others, proving that the impossible can be done again and again. The unique selling point of this new style of warfare lies in its simplicity and effectiveness. A drone, costing perhaps less than a luxury car, can now inflict millions of dollars worth of damage. The drones allegedly used in this operation showcased advanced features: stealth design, long-range communication systems, and perhaps even AI-based navigation. Unlike missiles, they can loiter, change course, and adapt to obstacles mid-flight. Their quiet engines make them nearly invisible to traditional tracking systems. This is what makes drones the future of warfare: adaptability, affordability, and precision. You don't need massive armies when you can deploy swarms of intelligent machines to do the job faster and cheaper. And in the case of this strike, that future is already here. The attack also carried a strong psychological message. It's one thing for Russia to face attacks on the battlefield in Ukraine. It's another to have strikes deep within its own capital. The symbolism of targeting Moscow city towers, home to financial institutions and government offices, is a clear statement. It's not just a physical attack, but a blow to confidence, economy, and national pride. Russia has always presented itself as untouchable at home, with the war far away from its civilians. But this attack proves that the war is now everywhere. The battlefield is expanding, and no skyscraper, no matter how tall or luxurious, can be safe from modern technology. Let's talk about the price and the cost-effectiveness of this event. The Moscow City complex is valued at roughly $1.2 billion, housing multiple towers filled with luxury and power. The damage from the drone strike may only account for a small percentage of that value, but the financial and psychological cost is immeasurable. On the other hand, the drones used could cost as little as $50,000, each, meaning a weapon worth less than a sports car managed to shake an entire nation. This is the true power of modern warfare economics. You don't need billion-dollar bombers or aircraft carriers when you can achieve the same or greater impact with a handful of drones. That imbalance is what makes drone warfare both fascinating and terrifying. The price ratio is absurdly lopsided. One side spends billions on defense systems, the other spends thousands on offense, and yet the smaller side manages to break through. Beyond the numbers, there's also a deeper meaning behind this. If these drones did in fact originate from Polish designs or support, then this attack might mark a turning point in European involvement. Poland has been one of Ukraine's most outspoken supporters, supplying arms and hosting refugees, but direct or indirect involvement in a strike inside Moscow would represent a new level of escalation. Whether or not Poland officially had a hand in it, the symbolism of the headline "Polish drones striking Moscow" resonates deeply in the international community. It suggests that the conflict is expanding beyond Ukraine's borders, not in physical occupation, but in technological influence and proxy strategies. Every nation watching this understands one thing: the rules of war are changing fast. The aftermath of the strike saw an intense reaction from Russia. Government officials condemned the attack as terrorism, promising retaliation, but behind the political statements there was visible concern. The Kremlin knows that these strikes are not just about physical damage, they're about exposure. Every attack on Moscow is a reminder that Russia's defenses are not impenetrable, and the more that becomes apparent, the more pressure builds internally. Ordinary citizens, once confident that the war was far away, are now questioning how safe they really are. Meanwhile, Ukraine and its supporters see these incidents as proof that technology and innovation can level the playing field against a much larger opponent. The performance of these drones compared to traditional weapons highlights an uncomfortable truth. We are entering an era where the size of your army no longer guarantees victory. Drones offer a form of precision and agility that no human pilot can replicate. They can fly low, adjust mid-mission, and strike with uncanny accuracy. The use of satellite guidance and AI targeting means human error is minimized and efficiency is maximized. This is the modern soldier's evolution, no longer a person, but a program. And in the case of Moscow City, that program performed flawlessly. From a military technology perspective, this strike will likely push nations around the world to reconsider how they defend their cities. Traditional anti-aircraft systems were never designed for slow, low-flying drones made of lightweight materials. The defenses of tomorrow will have to adapt with laser systems, electronic jammers, and AI-based interception programs becoming the new norm. Moscow's failure to prevent this strike is not just Russia's problem. It's a wake-up call for every superpower. In a world where one drone can defeat $1 billion tower, every country is vulnerable. In conclusion, what we are witnessing is the beginning of a new phase of warfare. The strike on Moscow City towers was not just about destruction, it was about demonstration. A demonstration that no matter how much wealth or military strength a nation possesses, technology can always find a way to penetrate it. The message was loud and clear. Power is no longer measured by how many tanks or missiles you own, but by how smart your machines are. The Russia-Ukraine conflict has now evolved into something larger, a test of innovation, endurance, and adaptation. And Poland's potential involvement, even indirectly, hints that this war may no longer be confined to two nations, but could soon involve the entire region in one form or another. As we move forward, the question remains, is this the next Ukraine or the next stage of global warfare? Either way, one thing is certain: the age of drone warfare is here to stay. The firepower of the future isn't about size, but precision. It's not about who can shout the loudest, but who can strike the smartest. The billion-dollar towers of Moscow stood tall for years as symbols of invincibility. But today, they stand as monuments to a lesson every country will remember: no fortress is too strong when the enemy learns to fly. That's the world we live in now. And that's the story we'll continue to follow. Because here at Firepower Report, we don't just watch the wars, we analyze the weapons, the strategies, and the future they are creating. Stay tuned for more reports as we track this evolving situation, the rise of drone warfare, and the shifting dynamics of power across Eastern Europe and beyond. What happens next could reshape not only this conflict but the future of warfare itself. Thank you for watching Firepower Report. Stay aware, stay informed, and stay ready.